2 words, Ryan Gosling. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be giving you my review of The Gray Man, the latest Netflix film starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas. So before I give you guys my thoughts on this movie, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below your thoughts or your expectations on this movie if you have not yet seen it, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future movie reviews or videos like this. So I've been following this movie behind the scenes for a while because the Russo Brothers, who directed Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, and Winter Soldier, were attached to direct it, and then they announced that Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling would be attached and it would be a spy thriller type movie, so my interest was piqued by that. But throwing all that aside, is The Gray Man a good movie? Did the Russo Brothers show their ability to direct outside of the MCU? Honestly, I think this movie's pretty solid. Starting with what I absolutely loved, Ryan Gosling carries every single second of this movie that he is in. He's always been able to deliver these charismatic performances. It seems almost effortless for him. The way that he's able to make you laugh or just be such a cool dude on screen, and that's literally what he's doing for 2 hours in this movie as an action hero, essentially. He kicks a lot of ass in this movie, and he's going up against Chris Evans, who plays Lloyd Hansen in the film, a total a-hole. Chris Evans has done a great job lately of separating himself from the stereotypical Captain America good guy role where he's no nonsense, I'm gonna make you follow the rules and I'm strict. He is the opposite of that here as he plays a psychopathic character who really will do whatever it takes to complete the mission that he is assigned, and he doesn't mess around in this movie. And if you don't know much about The Gray Man, the movie is essentially in the genre of the Bourne trilogy or these spy thriller films where there's government organizations involved and people on the run and different special agents from certain organizations are all kind of intertwined in this plot that can get a little convoluted, but that's kind of what you're getting into with The Gray Man. And anytime there's a plot in a movie like this involving all these different governmental agencies and higher-ups, it can get a little convoluted and wordy, and I feel like this movie kind of does a good job of making it accessible to the audience through action scenes and dialogue that kind of flows smoothly, albeit it can be sort of cheesy at times, which I'll get into later in the review. But you go to a Russo Brothers movie expecting action, and I think this one delivers. I mean, there are a few action scenes and hand-to-hand combat moments that definitely stand out to me. I won't give anything away, obviously, but I think Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans both brought their A-game from an action movie star standpoint. Some of these set pieces for the action sequences were pretty cool as well, but I think this movie's secret weapon is its father-daughter relationship that develops over the course of the movie. Now, it's not cut and dry father-daughter relationship, but Ryan Gosling sort of becomes a father figure to a young girl throughout the film, and I'm a sucker for story elements like that, whether that be The Punisher or Logan. Anytime that trope comes up in media, I've always kind of had a soft spot for it, and I feel like it's really well done and well executed in The Gray Man. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie, and it kind of gives the movie another layer, really kind of warms your heart as opposed to just being a straight up turn your brain off action movie. And if I'm being completely honest, I feel like Ana de Armas was kind of wasted in this movie. She's one of the best actresses working today, and I feel like she didn't have enough screen time here. Her character was very much sidelined in my opinion, with the spotlight being on Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, so I was pretty bummed to come out of this movie and wish that we got more Ana de Armas, because I feel like that's been the case lately, especially in the movie No Time to Die. She was a scene stealer in that, and she only had like maybe 15 minutes of screen time, unfortunately. So while I thought the performances were great and the action was a lot of fun at times, I still have some issues with The Gray Man. Notably, it can follow a lot of the cliches of this spy thriller genre. We'll get a bunch of scenes of these higher-ups in the government sitting in this dim room all looking at a monitor watching a mission go down, and they're all kind of secretly trying to double-cross each other the whole time or one-up each other in power plays, and I just don't care about any of these characters, and they try and put such an emphasis on them during the movie. That takes away from our main characters played by Gosling and Evans. And after a pretty riveting start to this movie, I feel like it almost came to a halt with the pacing. Like, I found myself sort of dozing off at times in the first hour, which is never a good thing with an action movie like this. I also would be remiss if I did not mention this is a Netflix movie, and I had the privilege of seeing it on the big screen, but does that actually translate that well? I don't think so, because there were some glaring issues with the visual effects in this movie. One sequence in particular involving a plane that kind of reminded me of the Uncharted movie. The CGI was extremely wonky, like it looked like something out of the early 2000s, and almost like it was still in the rendering stage. Again, I'm no VFX artist, but that really caught my eye. And there were other instances like that where you could tell there was like a little bit of a Netflix gloss to the CGI, where it didn't feel like it had that big budget, almost like, you know, a Mission Impossible film where they do everything practical. There's a lot of CGI here that kind of took me out of it for a brief second. I also feel like there were some really generic characters in this movie. Like, aside from Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans' character, everyone just feels pretty run-of-the-mill and generic and almost predictable in a sense. Billy Bob Thornton is in this movie, and he gives like sort of a lifeless performance, to be honest. There's moments where we're supposed to feel the peril for this character and feel really in grave danger, when in reality the performances are just really lame. And you've got Chris Evans' character doing this really outlandish bit, saying these super cheesy lines. Like, there are times where Chris Evans' character felt like Robin from the 1960s Batman, just yelling out random phrases, and like I didn't really know how to react. Like, I kind kind of giggled because it was so awkward and strange coming out of his character's mouth. That's just how I felt a lot watching him in the movie. And when it also comes to the Russo Brothers direction, there's like an excessive amount of drone shots in this movie. It reminded me a lot of Michael Bay's Ambulance. I thought it was pretty cool in that movie because that movie was chaotic by nature, and like he really went all in with it. That's just a Michael Bay thing to do. But here it's like they used it for transition shots, and just a bunch of times they were throwing these drone shots in there. It felt a little out of place to me, and they got a little drone happy. If we're comparing The Gray Man to other great spy thrillers, I definitely don't think the story is as strong as it could have been, and it sometimes has that straight to Netflix feel, but I feel like Ryan Gosling just really carries this movie, and the way they kind of sprinkle in his relationship with a daughter type figure in the movie was really the heart and soul. I was a fan of the way the score was integrated with certain action scenes in this movie, really built that tension. Overall, I think this movie's a solid time. I would recommend watching The Gray Man on Netflix. If you like Ryan Gosling or Chris Evans, there will be enjoyment to be had. There's some really generic story tropes and kind of bland and lifeless performances and characters, and the plot is nothing revolutionary, but I had a fun enough time, and I can't get Ryan Gosling's performance off my mind. That man is one of my favorite actors working today, and I can't wait to see him in the Barbie movie, which, by the way, there may or may not be a subtle reference to Barbie, and if you guys have seen the movie and know what I'm talking about, I was like mind blown that they included that in the movie. I almost wonder if they actually knew what they were doing with that or not, but I loved it. So overall, The Gray Man's a pretty fun time. I would definitely recommend watching it on Netflix. I don't know if I would go out to the theater for this one. I'm not sure if I'm fully sold on the Russo Brothers as directors yet. I think the direction from the Russo Brothers is sort of generic at times, but they still craft a movie with some really nice action set pieces and a decent enough story. The Gray Man's like a 3.5 out of 5 type movie for me. There's a lot of enjoyment to be had, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews like this one. Stay tuned for more videos coming very soon, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.